If you're a fan of the Torchlight franchise, but you were a little let down by Torchlight III, there is some hope on the horizon for XD's Torchlight Infinite. As a direct successor to Torchlight II, Torchlight Infinite picks up 200 years from where Torchlight II ends. Torchlight Infinite began its closed beta on January 18th, and it will run for a total of 6 weeks on both Android and iOS before it concludes. For those interested in joining, you can download the game on Android on TapTap, which is a third-party app store and one that XD themselves co-founded. The current phase of closed beta will allow players to test 4 of the heroes, experience 24 talent trees, obtain more than 200 pieces of legendary gear, and make their way through 3 chapters of story, complete with some pretty good cutscenes. With dozens of hours under my belt, here's a quick breakdown of the good and the bad that I've experienced so far. Good. Gameplay. So if you're an action RPG fan, then you probably aren't new to the Torchlight series. Luckily, XD doesn't stray too far from what Torchlight fans have come to know and love. The combat feels responsive even on a mobile device, and the touchscreen controls provide an easy way to plan the positioning of skills without too much fuss. By sliding your thumb across the screen like an analog stick, you can change your ability direction on the fly. You can do this with just about any of the abilities that you choose, or you can just tap each of the abilities to fire them off at will. The best part? No autoplay. Everything you do is based on the skills you choose and the choices you make in combat. It's definitely one of the best feeling combat systems on mobile. Torchlight Infinite also employs a lot of enemies with very specific attack patterns, bosses included. While you may have a few special affixes that can ruin your day once you hit the NETHERREALM, for the most part, as long as you're paying attention to your foes, even if you're underpowered, you can eke out a win as long as you know the pattern. Bad. Gear overload. Gear has always been huge in Torchlight, and Infinite is no exception. From early on though, you'll be getting numerous gear drops, all of which you'll need to sift through. It's always fun to look through your loot once you've finished a quest, but with the amount of gear you end up acquiring, I had to expand my inventory space many times so that I could hold everything, even from just one mission. You'll need to use crystals to expand your bag space, and luckily XD provides enough crystals during testing so that you can max out your bag space, but in the live game, this would probably cost you some money. How much? We can't really say at this time. The amount of gear you earn isn't the only problem, it's also the difficulty in finding the gear you want. For example, on my minion build character, my DPS factored as 0, as all of my damage didn't come from a weapon, but my minions. That means that a lot of the gear that was important to me only had minion stats, and there was no easy way to find the pieces that meant something to me out of the dozens of other pieces that were effectively worthless. Even on characters without a difficult to find stat like minion-based stats, sorting gear pieces by any specific stat or special ability would have made things so much easier and cut down on the time it took me to look through my gear between adventures. Good. The customization. During the closed beta, we have access to 4 classes with 24 talent trees and tons of skills to choose from. After a short tutorial, you'll be able to select one of 6 talent trees to begin your journey. Then at level 20, you'll be able to choose 1 out of 3 subclass trees from the initial talent tree you selected. Finally, you'll be able to select a 3rd subclass from any subclass talent tree, which will open up a lot of opportunities if you want to branch out into completely new areas. Players will also be able to obtain packed spirits, which you'll need to roll for in the cash shop. You do get a number of free rolls by completing the season pass, and you can earn crystals to buy rolls or other cash shop items by completing achievements. The pack spirits grant you passive bonuses which you can change based on the 3 pack spirits you choose. With 200 skills and a number of additional bonuses that you can apply to them with skill buffs through the use of skill energy, there are a lot of ways to build a unique character capable of defeating swaths of enemies in moments. While some of the way bonuses interact are a little confusing at first, hopefully XD takes the time to explain the interactions a little better on launch. Bad. NETHERREALM beacons. In the closed beta, players will have access to the NETHERREALM, which is a list of worlds separated by tiers that are called time marks. You also earn cinders to open up new realms with different enemies and different rewards. In order to ascend the time marks of the various worlds, you need to gain the attention of a watcher, which requires you complete specified stages that will raise your watcher level. Once you've completed the required number of stages, the watcher trial opens up, and you can take on the final boss to increase your time mark level. That increases the difficulty of enemies, but also increases the level of gear you can obtain. The only problem? Taking on these levels requires that you have beacons for the levels that you need. Beacons are randomly dropped by any of the enemies in the NETHERREALM, and that means that you may not always get the beacon you need to move forward. At one point, I only needed one stage to move forward to the next time mark, but I couldn't get the beacon I needed to drop, so I had to play the other stages several times until I finally received the last beacon required to move up to the next time mark. Prohibiting your progression on RNG is never a good thing. Good. Laying the groundwork for multiplayer. Torchlight Infinite's closed beta is predominantly a single player affair. You can't team with anyone, you can't dive into dungeons with friends, and you can't see other heroes going about their business in the town hub as they prepare for the next adventure. You can, however, chat with other players through the in-game chat interface. There is an auction house that lets you buy and sell legendary items that you may no longer want. Torchlight Infinite has expressed that they will eventually have multiplayer, and so far, the closed beta has shown that they are laying the groundwork to do just that. Torchlight Infinite will also be a multi-platform game. That means that while only mobile players are able to join in on the closed beta right now, we may see the game transition to PC or consoles at a later date. It's great when you can play a game you love anywhere on any platform, and Torchlight Infinite is definitely an action RPG that may fit that bill. Bad. Sealed mana. In Torchlight Infinite, players will be able to obtain passive abilities, many of which require that a portion of your mana be sealed in order to use it. Sealed mana will section off a portion of your mana so that you can't use it, and in the event you seal too much of your mana, you won't be able to use skills at all anymore. That sounds like a great way to balance abilities, but in practice it's very difficult because too many of the passive skills seal far too much mana, so it's difficult to even add 3 usable passive skills right off the bat without being left with nearly no mana. Some passive skills take 50% of your entire mana bar, just for one passive bonus. In addition to that, slotting passive skill bonuses will also require sealed mana, and because the percentages are so high, you really can't add anything to the passive skills apart from trying to reduce their cost. There are ways to trade off your mana for your health with a cost conversion skill, and you can reduce the amount of mana a passive skill seals with a restrained skill ability or through specific talent trees, but oftentimes, especially during the early game, you have to make a choice on whether you want to take the health penalty or have a usable passive skill. Hopefully this gets balanced a little better in the future. XD has done a great job at making Torchlight Infinite a fun action RPG, and despite the few problems I encountered, I can't wait until the game releases. Have you had the chance to play the Torchlight Infinite closed beta? Are you looking forward to the game on mobile or another platform? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.